Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents absolutely everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and during this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything real estate. What's working, what's not working, AI, automation, technology, EXP Realty, and absolutely everything to do with real estate. I'll have guest speakers as well, where we'll answer your questions from the Facebook group, Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you do that now, and we'd be happy to help answering any question. And again, welcome to the show. Okay. James Short, thank you so much for joining me on Let's Talk About Real Estate today. I'm really excited to have you here.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Super excited.
Well, we're going to be talking about mindset today, and that's one of my favorite subjects. Do you know when I had my real estate office, I had a real estate office down in Wollongong, and I had 14 staff, and I did all, sort of whatever, busy. I wanted to work out how to motivate people. I was like, I should be able to motivate these people. Like, well, why can't I motivate it? So I started doing a psychology degree at university. Then I did that for about a year. Then we got to statistics and I went, no, this is not for me. And then I left. And then that's what got me onto Tony Robbins, because I was fascinated. I'm like, I'm a leader of a real estate office and I can't get these people to do what I know they should do. How do I motivate people? So that's really what I want to talk about today is if you're a principal of an office, if you're a team leader, how do you motivate people? Because I started to think it was me. I'm like, I'm a crap leader. Like, I can't get these people to do it. And in reality, I had the wrong people in the wrong roles. And once I realized that, it was like, asking people in the office, what do you really love to do? And then they'd go, well, I'd actually like to do this. And then I swap people around. And then it was like, oh my gosh, people were in the right roles for what they needed to do. So that today is really what I want to talk about is mindset, why people do what they do, and equally, why don't they do what they should do? All right, you ready for that?
Love it. Let's go. Let's rip in. How exciting.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, I love talking about this. Like I said, Tony Robbins and all all those different people that you can learn so much from. So I've written out a whole lot of questions because there's nothing that I
Cool.
want to miss.
Yep.
So, and this is questions that I've kind of thought about for, like I said, either as a leader of somebody who then is not taking all this, on themselves, and what they can do to help someone. All right. So the first question is, do you think someone can be successful without the right mindset, and why? But equally, what is the right mindset to success?
Well, the second question that you just asked is that's the foundation. What is there a right type of mindset? And I think if we're looking if we keep it really simple, if we look at, where is your mindset? Are you always negative? Are you always what I call playing below the line? And does that look like you're always denying, you're always justifying, or you're going, you're not taking that responsibility and accountability? Or what I like to say is, do you play above the line and do you take that ownership, accountability, and responsibility? And I think if we start from that point around, okay, what is the right mindset, is then when we can play above the line, then we can look at, okay, so what are some of the characteristics and behaviors of those successful agents that lead to success, to lead to, whatever the goals that they want to achieve? Because sometimes, writing 500,000 GCI is successful for someone compared to writing 5 million GCI. So it depends on where that person is at on their journey and where they think is success for them. So looking at that and then unpacking that is looking at the characteristics and the mindset commonalities between a lot of leading agents. And I like to use a lot of C words. It's not the words that some would usually go down, but things like confidence. What is it around confidence that you have or you don't have in relation to your mindset? Things like certainty. Are you certain in yourself? Are you certain in your craft? Are you certain in leading a team? Are you consistent? And consistent and disciplined are very two sort of, they have a nice dance in between each other. Are you consistent in your activity? And the last one is clarity. Are you really clear on where you're going but also why are you going there? What is that? Obviously, what is that why? What is that purpose? And what does that drive? And so when we unpack mindset as like, all right, are we playing above the line? Are we taking ownership, accountability and responsibility for our learnings, for our mistakes, for our wins? But also then what are those different C components of a behavior and characteristics for our mindset that we can step into that will ultimately lead us to our success?
Yep. And can I just say, when you say that, because when I was the principal of the office, I took responsibility for the people that weren't performing. Now you're saying self-responsibility, whereas,
Yes.
I was putting, I was blaming myself for them not performing, right? So what you're
Yep.
saying is you've got to take accountability for who you are. You know what I mean? So those salespeople have to take self-responsibility, whereas I was
Yep.
taking it for them when I shouldn't have been.
Oh, but you did though, Lisa. You did, because what you did is that you took responsibility and you had the realization that they were the wrong people on the bus.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
so you took that, you know what, you made that decision, you took the accountability, you took responsibility, and you put your hand up and go, wrong people, wrong seat, wrong bus,
Yeah.
time to replace. So it is a level, and as you're, when you're leading and growing your teams, that is, you need to have that responsibility. Go, you know what? Maybe I hired too quickly. Maybe I didn't do my due diligence. Maybe I didn't have an onboarding system. Whatever that is for you, that, we always hear hire slow, fire fast, but it's the ability to, have that understanding of as a leader, how am I setting the example? How am I having the right mindset? And what's that mindset that I want to instill into the rest of my team?
Yeah. And like you say, like taking ownership of being the leader, and did you employ the wrong people? It's like, they sack the football coach, they don't sack the whole team. So, if you've got the wrong people on the team, on the football team, they're not gonna win. So yes, they might have to get rid of certain players, they might have to move people around into different roles that they're better at. But then you also need to look at the coach. You need to look, all of those C's that you said. Has the
Totally.
coach got certainty in the team? Has the coach got, all of those sorts of things? Credibility too is another C.
Yep.
Sort of, yeah. So it's sort of take ownership for what you can, change it if you can. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, perfect. Okay, so why do we need coaches?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head in relations to looking at sports. And I was chatting to a new client the other day who's never had a coach, and he obviously has been watching the Australian Open. He said even elite tennis players have coaches.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, yeah, it's a really good understanding, but why do you think that is? He said, well, they can always learn. They can always develop their craft. They always looking at what's the cutting edge strategies around their skills, but also on their mindset. And so when you look at that as in the agents world, even as principals and directors, it's the ability to do exactly that. Because what happens is that sometimes we lose focus. Sometimes, we need to sharpen our saw. Sometimes we need to have someone who's not in the business to have an outside perspective of within the business. It's having someone in your corner. It's like, you're going out there day in, day out, trying to do listing presentations, trying to manage the team. You're getting knocked a bit of a Rocky Balboa. So it's who's in your corner that you can come back and have a few words of wisdom, a few inspiration, but also set you off in the right path. So
Yeah.
if you look at the sports analogy, it's a perfect analogy to go, that is why agents need coaches.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like you said, sometimes when you're in the forest, you can't see it for the trees. So an outsider's perspective to say, you know what, and people too, to sort of, let them see actually where they are. Maybe they were here last week and now they're here, and they're
Yeah.
themselves up because they're not here. So it's also, keeping people in check to hang on a minute, look how far you've come and look where you're going, and to have belief in that person that they don't have themselves. I've plenty of my coaching clients are their confidence is just so low, but they've achieved so much. And it's like, are you for real? Look at the things that you have done in your life. Are you serious? Like, you can knock this out of the park with all of your life experience, but they just don't have that confidence, you said. So it's reminding them about to have belief in themselves. And generally, it's they want somebody, the cheerleader on the sidelines, don't they? If
Thousand percent.
you're saying to your coaching clients, you know what, you are amazing and I'm here and I understand exactly where you're coming from. And I find a lot of the men too, they don't want to tell their wives, they don't want to tell anybody else. I feel that it's a safe place that they can say to somebody who understands, look, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm normally getting listings, and maybe it's just like you said, that negativity. They're just not in that attracting mode. They're kind of repelling everybody. They've got commission breath, or whatever it is. They've got to come back to the basics and things like that. So it's just, they can't see for being in the forest, for the trees, can they?
And there's two quick stories around that. Two conversations I had exactly this morning. One of them was with like $2 million rider, wants to almost double that for this year, but it was just so focused on the outcome. And I said, dude, like, just stop. He goes, what do you mean stop? I guess he goes, I can't stop. I said, no, stop. Look where your focus is. You're so focused on the numbers, right? You're so focused on the outcome that you're just trying to drive. What got to where you were, right, was the ability about being the authentic you. And you actually didn't focus on the numbers. You actually didn't focus on how many sales or your commission that was coming through. You just focus on the people. And when you focus on the people, you were just in flow. Things were happening. Your team was just all happening. He goes, yeah. And you could see the shift in his face. I said, well, what just happened? He goes, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. He goes, all the overwhelm and all the anxiety has just dropped. I said, yes, because you're so attached to the outcome. And then another story this morning, like this gentleman, 20 years, and he was asking me for some strategies. I said, what? I said, you know what you're supposed to be doing? You're just not doing it. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you've got people to call, you've got reasons to call. So what's really happening that you're not doing it? He goes, I just need to kick up the ass. I said, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So
up the ass.
it's just, and that's the thing though, it's the ability to call out that behavior as a coach, where you can see the patterns that are playing out, and you just call the behavior out. The light bulb moment happens. They get back in what they're supposed to be doing, and boom, they start to achieve.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay. So do you believe people can be motivated?
This is a really good question. I like this question. We've got to look at, I believe, what is motivation, because I think motivation is different for different people. We've got to look at, are they willing? Are they actually coachable within themselves? And do they actually have the belief? Because, you can watch a 2-minute Tony Robbins clip and be motivated, and that's great. But then what do you do with that motivation? How do you then put that into action? What is that next steps that you do once you've motivated? Because you can be motivated all the time, but unless you're actually then going to do the activity, then
It's like that.
it's useless.
I'm going to go get a listing. How do I get one? If you haven't got the skills. Exactly. So,
And I think it comes down to, instead of more motivation, it's more around confidence. Do you have the confidence to pick up the phone? Do you have the confidence to go into an appraisal? Do you have the confidence to go and knock on doors? Do you have the confidence to lead the team? And if we can unpack that and look at, okay, what do you need to do in order to step into that confidence? That's then motivating itself, because it's like, oh, that's that coming down, that internal belief, internal self-motivation, rather than looking at YouTube or social media to try and get motivated.
Yeah, that's right. I always say, like, you've got to plug in the gaps of where you're not sure, because if you're not sure how to do something, so say if you're new in real estate and you're not sure of the legalities, say in Queensland, an agent can be licensed and go actually list the next day. So if you're not confident on that Form 6, you're not going to want to try and find a listing, because you're scared stiff about filling in the contract. So then pair up with another agent, take another agent with you, share the commission, and then that's maybe something that's going to plug in that gap. Or go talk to agents, go talk to conveyancers, go talk to solicitors, learn what you need to do. So whatever that blockage is, because people will have a blockage to motivation too, won't they? It's sort of
Yeah.
motivation and inspiration, but then also that confidence to be able to move forward. If they're nervous, if they've got a blockage, it's like it's like a 10-foot wall, isn't it? It's like,
About 1000%. And it comes back even to like prospecting. People
yeah,
go, oh, who do I call? What do I say?
yeah,
I'm always a big believer of like, let's just limit any of those excuses. And I like to get them to create menus. Like, I don't have the solutions. They've got the solutions. They've been doing this game for long enough. It's just like, list all the potential people that you call from all the different lists and all the different aspects. Now list another menu on all the different reasons to call. Now, where's your excuse now? Oh yeah, I think you're right. It's like, come on, let's go. Like, all right, book it in, make it happen. Let's go, let's do it. And so that's decreasing those excuses, getting them to take that responsibility and accountability and play above the line.
and I think too, you said something about asking questions, and I think it's so important in coaching to ask questions, because a lot of time people know what they know and they know why they're not doing it. So like if we tell someone to do something, they're probably not going to do it. They've got to get the aha moment themselves. So what could you do? What could you do? What could you do if money wasn't a problem? What could you do if whatever? And sometimes you've got to ask yourself those questions, like, what do I need to do? What can I do? Asking the right questions, definitely. Yeah.
And just on that, Lisa, is a lot of the time, particularly with team members or even yourself, when you ask that question, a lot of the knee-jerk response is, I don't know, right? And that is a wall that comes up where people actually don't want to unpack that, and might be vulnerability, might be fear of getting it wrong, might be a belief that maybe that they're too scared, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So by asking the secondary question of, if you did know, what could it be?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And because then that opens up, dialogue. And when they still say, oh, I still don't know, then I go, okay, cool. I like to have some fun, right? In our sessions. I say, okay, you're saying you don't know, but I reckon there could be something in there. Let's play with some options. Now, first option is aliens could fly down from outer space and land and blow up the house. That could be one option. Ha 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 ha. Or another option is an earthquake happens and the house gets sucked away. All right, so in between, there's an answer. What do you think? And 95% of the time, we get at least 2 or 3 answers.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
it's just having some fun with the conversation.
Or another question that's not so ha would be, okay, what if I put a gun to your head? What about then? What would the answer be then? You got to tell me the answer in 5 minutes. What would it be? Yeah, but anyway.
Let's go.
All right. So is everybody coachable? You mentioned that before. Is everybody coachable?
No. And the reason being, there's a couple of different reasons. And I've had some great conversations around this, thinking people want my services, but actually going through the onboarding process, we're not aligned.
Yeah.
And the reason why is there's a couple of different factors. One is when they come with the I know everything. Okay. Is like, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. I know that too. Yeah, okay, great. And so they know everything that may be implemented for a week, right? A week, and it hasn't worked for them. Okay, great. Or the other thing is saying and doing. They say they're going to do something and actually not commit and actually to do it. So that's another aspect. And the other one is the ability to commit versus being in the comfort zone. And so when we go on this coaching journey, it's like there's things that you might feel a little bit uneasy to do because you're changing habits, you're changing beliefs, but are you prepared to commit, or you want to play in the comfort zone? So there's a couple of different reasons why people aren't necessarily coachable.
And if you think about it from a leader's point of view, not always somebody is going to be coachable, even though you want to. If you think about, a reformed smoker talking to a smoker, do you think that as coachable? Probably not. Just because you are or you're in that mindset, it doesn't mean somebody else is going to be. And maybe they might be later, but not everybody you are going to get through to what you would hope that they would want to do. So, it's
Totally.
kind of like I just feel sorry for leaders sometimes, sort of blaming themselves for everything, and it's not always their fault.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are the biggest problems your clients are having at the moment?
At the moment, I mean, obviously there's the technical component, which is the market and changes in market and stock on market for longer periods of time, and expectations of vendors and so forth of thinking it's last year's prices.
Mhm.
That's obviously on the eastern seaboard, and then on the western seaboard, it's like trying to find the stock. There's a little bit of stock shortages over there. So once again, there's the market sort of conditions, but when we look at internal, so managing it's finding obviously the right team, how to recruit the right team, and setting expectations with those teams of people are wanting this, but the job is really worth that. But then how do we actually get them on board to show that you could potentially earn that, but we've got to go through this process. So that's then on a team, and then on a mindset, where we're really noticing is, as I mentioned that example before, is about, everyone set their goals for the year, but it's then getting them to shift the mindset now around focusing on the process. So
Mm,
noticing that the goals are set, okay, great. Now let's come back and what do we need to do each day, each week, each month on a process component to ensure we're moving the needle and achieving those goals.
yeah, perfect. So if they're on a 2 now for prospecting, like out of 10, so they say that they're a 2, what's going to get them to a 3 or to a
Yeah,
5 or to a 10?
correct.
Sort of see that they're moving as well.
Yeah,
Also, too, like in coaching, you've also got your market influences, like you said, but there's also so many personal things that can come up: a divorce, a death, moving house, all these stressful things that can happen, or maybe relationships within the office and things like that that make things difficult, or new owners in the business, things like that. So there's lots of different things like that that can come up. So what's been the most difficult situation that you've had with a coaching client, and how did you get through it? And not giving away personal information, obviously, with that person, like keep it very general. But what do you think would be the most difficult situation you've had?
Well, I'm actually from Byron Bay, so Lennox Head, up near Byron Bay, and we experience some of the worst floods in history in Lismore.
Mm,
And I've got a bunch of different clients that I see up in the Northern Rivers, and I
mhm.
think that has been one of the most traumatic
That would have been.
events. Yeah, and like the thing is, it's the flow-on effect, because so many houses were being wiped out, so many properties being wiped out, so many people lost everything, and then it's the agents to actually help to manage that process. If they're a property management or in the sales, and so then going through that, and they've also lost their homes. Like we've had clients who lost everything, and they're only just getting back into their homes now. They've been in caravans for the last 2 years with two kids.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like this is the stuff that doesn't hit the news, doesn't get the papers, but this is the like
Reality.
it's just absolutely crazy. And so they've got to deal with their own personal stuff of losing everything, losing all their belongings, but then also help others. So there's been a lot of PTSD up here, like even to the fact that, oh, it's raining hard, sugar, or is it going to flood again? So it's about managing and helping them and being supportive for them in this process, whilst then they've got to try and do it for themselves. So things like, how do I share with a vendor or with the landlord that they're opening up about their all loss and life and all that kind of stuff, where the agent's not equipped for that. The agent's not a counselor, they're not a psychologist. So how do they then refer on to a specialist and not take all that burden? So this last 12 to 18 months, it's just been a real supportive process for a lot of agents in the Northern Rivers.
Yeah, definitely. And then rebuilding, isn't it? It's like, where they were to rebuild to get back to normal. All right.
Totally, yeah.
All right. So real estate is very much a roller coaster ride. Yay, got 5 listings, 4 pulled out. Yay, got a sale, pulled out, whatever. It's very much a roller coaster ride. So how do
Yep.
you suggest agents cope with that roller coaster?
I think there's a couple of different aspects on that is one, setting up your big rocks. And what I mean by that is, how are you filling up your cup personally? So what does that health and fitness process look like for you? I'm always a big believer of getting that done in the morning, setting up the day, setting it up strong to manage your emotions. Because in real estate, it's more about how do we manage emotions and expectations than anything else. So it's looking at that, and obviously exercise is huge, nutrition is huge, meditation, reading, breath work, all those key components are really huge. So how do you fit that into your day? It doesn't, don't need to, go up to the mountains and sit on a rock and chant for hours on end. It's just like sitting down for 5 minutes and focusing on your breathing.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that on a consistent level? How do you do exercise? And that in itself will help to manage those highs and lows. The
Mm.
other aspect that I share, I also do a lot of coaching in the basketball space, and I share with my athletes this story about being a Dory. About being, if you've missed a shot, you've got to be a Dory within 2 seconds, because that shot can lead to 2 points down the other end of the court, which could be now a 4-point difference. Same thing in real estate. You lose a listing, you get a listing, be a Dory. So, and that might be within 2 minutes, 2 hours, or 24 hours, but it's the ability to go, all right, I've lost it. How do I move on? I got it. What's next? So once again, so you're not going, you manage an emotional roller coaster by allowing you to go, what's next? And there's a really good analogy of, a lot of professional basketball teams use the analogy called next play. And that next play is the ability to go, okay, cool. You stuffed up. All right, what's the next play?
Yeah.
All right, you had a win. Great. What's the next play? And
Mhm.
so that gets people moving, and rather than, willy walling around and having a pity party, and how do we can continually move forward?
Yeah, great. And just for those that don't know, being a Dory, Dory is from the movie Finding Nemo, and Dory gets suffers very bad memory loss. And yeah, just for people who haven't seen the movie. But yeah, that's so true. I agree with everything you said there. And I think the other thing is too is, I was in sales for a long time, and I would always go to bed and say, did I do my best? Right. That's the thing that I can do. If I did, then I couldn't control anything else. I did my best. I did everything the same. If not, what can I learn from it? And we've always got to be learning in sales, and sometimes we make the same mistakes again and we go, oh man, whatever, we forget the good things we used to do that used to work, and then we remember them, somebody else does them, and then you go, oh, that's right, I used to do that. You start doing it again. You've just got to sort of go, have I done my best? If not, learn from it. And if you did, then you can't control it. Things
Totally.
are going to happen. Owners are going to pull
Totally.
out, sales are going to fall through, people change their minds. That's just going to happen. And I was talking to somebody this morning, and we're talking about the rejection of people door knocking or phone prospecting. Now, when you're going to phone prospect or door knock, say you're going to door knock a street of 50 houses, reality is not every person is going to say yes, they want to sell their house. Now, there is no way every single person is going to say yes. That's impractical. It's silly to think that. So you are going to have people say no, because not everybody's going to put a for sale sign up in that street in one day. So it's silly to think it's going to be. So your expectations of your prospecting have to be that maybe 1 out of 50 might say yes, and you might get a few future sellers as well. But, it's like to judge your expectations about what you could control, and what
Yeah,
reality is as well. All right.
definitely.
So something about, I just finished watching Breaking Bad. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, you got to watch it. My son was at me for
Okay.
years to watch it. It's all about this guy that he was a school teacher and ends up, oh, I won't give too much away, but ends up making meth, right? And selling it. And
Yep.
that's his story, right? So it's a great, great thing, right? So anyway, which I've kind of been spending my time in meth labs through this show Breaking Bad. And it's like, oh my gosh. Anyway. So I've heard that a lot of agents are started to using cocaine. It's been around a while. It wasn't in my day, but I've heard it very much is a common thing now. Have you heard that? Is that, and why is this
Yep.
so? Why?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hear and see a lot of it in a lot of the busier states, the busier cities.
Mhm,
It can have a bit of a culture of use within some of the high performing offices as well.
mhm.
And a lot of the times, I believe it's a form of escapism.
Yeah.
The use of cocaine, the use of alcohol, the use of other, drugs or party drugs, you might call them, it's a numbing mechanism.
Mm.
So the frequency that a lot of these agents go of like go deal, let's go. When they use substance abuse like this, it's their form of like, I just want to escape
Relax.
for a second. I just want
Yeah.
it to go away. I just want to feel nothing. I just want to escape that reality and go into a different reality and just forget about it for a little while. The
Mm.
challenge with that, obviously, we know the physical challenges of substance abuse, but it's the ups and the downs, right? So you might go out and have a party and use substances, but it's the come down effect, it's the emotional effect, the impact of your body, impact on your health, and at the end of the day, there are so many other ways that you can help to manage your emotions so you don't actually have to use substances. As I said before, your exercise, your meditation, your breath work, seeing a counselor, like having a coach. These are the options that you can go down rather than going down the path of substance abuse.
Definitely. Now, I have two friends that went down that path and two friends that got caught by the police and their careers were in jeopardy. So, one is Ryan McCann. He's at First National up here in Queensland. And I actually did a video with him about this and his story. And I'll probably put a link to this down there. Like I think he's number 2 agent in Queensland and, amazing guy, like a lovely, lovely guy. And he was into meth and all that sort of thing. And now from that, the media tried to destroy him. He lost his business and all of these things, and he's rebuilt. And now he does charities and everything for drugs and all that sort of thing. And it's if you get caught, you're stuffed. Okay.
Yeah.
Really, you get caught with cocaine, the media is going to love to put you on the front page of the paper, put you everywhere, real estate agent, cocaine, whatever. And what happened with him is he gave some of his friends some of these drugs. The police came and it's sort of, I'm paraphrasing, it's probably not quite right, but this is the general story, is that he gave some of his friends, like, 4 friends, some of this meth, right? The police said, "Oh, so you gave the drugs to your friends?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, 4 counts of dealing or something like that, right? So it
Wow.
it, it went from Ryan McCann drug deal whatever, and he was crucified. Okay,
Yeah.
another solicitor I know, same thing. He took a whole lot of people on a boat, gave them these drugs. His wife left him, lots of different things.
Yep.
That's all over the newspapers and everything as well. And it's not only what you're doing in the moment, you've got to think about the long-term effects of if you get caught, your brand. Okay. If you're working for a real estate brand, you're screwed. And so is your brand. Okay. Everyone's going to go into damage control. So don't do it. Your own personal brand is going to be destroyed. So, really think about what you're actually doing. It's not just in the moment, okay, alcohol, okay, it's legal, whatever. You're not going to go into the news for that as long as you don't go, do something silly. But
Yeah.
not endorsing it, but it's like be careful of these illegal substances because the media will have no hesitation in destroying your reputation because that's what's going to sell them subscriptions and papers and everything else and at your expense. So that's probably
So,
what I want to say about that. That's what I worry about.
yeah.
And there's so much of it about, and it's just happening more and more. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
scary. But
Spot
anyway,
on.
yeah.
Spot on.
All
Yeah.
right.
Couldn't
So
agree.
what
Yeah.
else would you like to talk about with regards to mindset? I know it's your favorite topic. So what else do you think real estate agents really need to know about mindset?
I think the last thing I'd love to share is about the hat analogy. We have so many different hats that we wear in life.
Mm.
From the agent, it could be even a director or a principal. It could be a family person. It could be a husband or a wife. It could be a dad or a mom or whatever it is. You've got all these hats that you wear.
Mm.
And what I notice a lot of the time is people wear the wrong hats at the wrong time for the wrong activity.
Mm-hmm.
And firstly, identifying what those hats are and identifying what are the behaviors that you need to ascertain in order to be successful in that activity. Because we have over 500 hats within us, right? But it's about choosing the right hat for the right time for the right activity. So if you're prospecting, even as a sales agent, you've got many hats. You wear a different hat compared to when you're prospecting, compared to when you're knocking the door, compared to when you're in a listing presentation. But it's about, what are those characteristics that you need to bring into making on the phone? I need to be confident. I need to have conviction. I need to be knowledgeable. I need to have empathy. I need to be asking good questions. All those things. It's not about, what's happening at home? Oh, did the kids get lunch? Yeah. Oh, it'd be nice to go down to the beach. And so it's choosing that right hat for the right moment. And so I share this analogy a lot of the time. If I'm out seeing clients in offices, I've got the full presenter's hat and coach's hat on, like doing workshops and presentations, and it's go, 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 go. When I come home and I have that same hat on, my kids go, Dad, we're not one of your coaches. We're not one of your clients. We're not in a workshop. Get outside and do your little process.
Mm.
So what I do, I drive into the driveway and I'm in my driveway and I go, okay, where am I? Environment check. I'm about to walk in home. Who do I need to be? I need to be the loving husband and the awesome dad. Okay, great. When was the last time like that? And I think about a past experience when I was that awesome husband and loving dad and so forth and so forth. And you can hear even now in my voice, by just saying that, my change in tonality, my change in energy, right? So then I can come back at home and they go, Dad's home. And I'm actually present and I'm there mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually with my wife and my kids. So it's the ability to go, what's the hat that you need to wear? What's the behaviors that you need to ascertain for that hat, for that activity, for that point in time?
Yeah, absolutely. And what sort of going on from that too, we wear lots of hats in a business in that we're the cleaner, we're the psychologist, we're the marketing department, we're the accounting department, we're the whatever. And so, we do wear lots of different hats in our different roles. And like you said, to be present in each of those roles and, sort of, be in the moment of where you are. And I said this in one of my podcasts the other day, but I just loved it from India. One of the guys that I met over there, he said, that in their culture, he said it was really drummed into them that the past is the past. Okay. You can't change it. Today is the present. Work on today and what you need to do today to set you up for the future. Then you don't have to worry about the future because you're doing what you need to do today. And I thought, how cool is that? It's sort of, take care of today and then your future is okay. So if you take care of your body today, your future's looking better. If you take care of your finances today, your finances are looking better. If you take care of your family, then you know what I mean? So it's like, I just really love that. I love that saying, and it's something I've thought of every single day since I come back. Like they're so spiritual over there and everything, and it's sort of the connection to everything. And, and that's what I think we need to be. We need to have that, connection to our body, like you said, mind, soul, spiritual, all that sort of thing.
Totally.
I think that's great. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's great. Really appreciate it. It's fun chatting.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So this will be the podcast. Let's talk about real estate. I'll put all the links of everything that you've got as well, all of your phone numbers and emails and website and everything. So if anybody wants any coaching, definitely reach out to James. So you do speaking as well. So you go to offices as well. Yep.
Speaking, training, yeah, workshops, keynotes, lots of different options to impact lots of different people.
Already wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in EXP, please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for EXP Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.